Good day, everyone. I'm Shantae. I am so sorry for the technical difficulties. I've been having issues with my camera, issues with my network, issues with my phone. Don't know what's going on. Coronavirus can get me like that, but I'm here with some analysis for you today on July 21st, 2020. It's the 21st day of July, and of course, we're dealing with a crazy pandemic. That's what we're on. So if you want to catch this live, you can catch it on YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's just Shantae Berry. I'm going to try my best to start doing my stuff on Restream to see how it is. Hopefully it could connect with my Instagram. It could connect with, not too much of my Facebook. No. Connect with my YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter. And I think I'm going to try to, I think I connected to my Periscope, but I'm going to work on those. Hopefully I can get it to a broader base. So here we have it. But I'm going to start off with the coronavirus. So as we have it, we're globally at 14,894,973. With the number of cases, we had 3,000. Okay, so let's start this over. Woo. Globally, we have 14,894,973. In the U.S., we account for a fourth of those cases, and we are at 3,897,465, with a total of deaths sitting at 141,972. In Brazil, we have about 2,159,654. India, 1,155,354. Russia at 782,040. Africa at 381,998. I believe yesterday they were at a total of 373,628. So that's a pretty significant jump. Peru is at 362,887. 362,087, followed by Mexico at 356,255. Yesterday there was at 349,000, so that's a pretty significant jump, as well as Peru is pretty significant as well. Chile at 334,683, and the UK at 297,382. Keep in mind, South Africa was not even in the top last month. So this month, you see significant changes, see rising changes, see everything just going up. In Latin countries, we have Colombia sitting at 204,005, Ecuador 76,217, Panama at 55,153, Dominican Republic 54,797, Guatemala 40,229, Honduras 34,611, El Salvador 12,582. African countries, Nigeria at 37,801, Ghana at 28,989, Cameroon at 16,522, Kenya at 14,168, Sudan at 10,992, Senegal at 8,985, and Gambia at 112. In the West Indies, we have Haiti at 7,100, Jamaica at 810, Guyana, at 339, saying these numbers so fast, I'm trying to get through everything. Bahamas at 174, Trinidad and Tobago at 139, Barbados at 106, Antigua at 76, St. Vincent at 50, Belize at 40, Grenada at 23, same as for St. Lucia, Dominica at 18, and St. Kitts at 17. And that's all according to the Johns Hopkins website, University of Medicine. As for the states and the COVID-19 map on the New York Times, we have New York at 412,880. 89. But what is surprising is California has made a big significant jump. Yesterday they were at 399,503. Today they're at 410,224. So won't be shocked if they surpass New York as being the highest cases in the country. Because there are 40 million people in California versus 90 million here in the state of New York. Florida is at 369,826. Texas is at 354,430. New Jersey at 179,230. Illinois at 165,516. Arizona at 148,695. Georgia at 135,865. And North Carolina at 135,865. That's a lot. Now the top counties, I went right back to the Johns Hopkins website. Los Angeles at 159,045. Cook County at 99,052. Maricopa at 96,711. Miami-Dade County at 87,035. And Queens was the original epicenter of the virus, and now they sitting at 66,401. And we don't really have a huge national strategy to combat COVID-19, but however, Donald Trump thinks that it is the best thing since pie. He had a briefing today on coronavirus, and of course there was nothing new. You learn there was a lot of misleading facts. He lied. Let's just say he lied. So Trump said that first of all, he had the briefing without the task force. That included the vice president, Mike Pence. That include his scientists, Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, the most trusted man. And even Secretary Azar and Admiral Gerard, I forgot to say his name. Those people were not there. But he said his administration is working day and night to draft the next economic relief package, which is called Phase 4. I mean, I never knew what phase we were in because he never identified what phase we were in. He said they're also making a lot of progress. Both sides wanted to get it done. He acted like he didn't want to say both sides going to get it done. And he said he's going to protect workers in schools and protect them strongly. He also said they learned so much about this virus. He still calls this virus the Chinese virus, which is... He adds, we will protect the most vulnerable, and we know who the most vulnerable population is. And he's considering old people the most vulnerable population, which everybody is not exempt of getting this virus and dying. He also said he keeps referring to, COVID-19 as the Chinese virus. He said they're in the process of developing a strategy to be more powerful. I mean, there should have been a national strategy in place since you declared this as a national emergency for the country back on March 11th. Also, yes, he did call it Kung Flu too. He said some areas of the country are doing well and some are doing well less than others, which the only part of the country that's doing well is the northeastern part, which they were the epicenter of the whole entire virus back in late March and early April. Especially if you live in New York, you know you were part of the epicenter of the virus. Mostly Queens was the main epicenter for the whole entire New York because there was European travel, which I knew it did not come from China. This virus originated from China, but there were Europeans coming here and had the virus, and some did not know they were working around with the virus. What they call asymptomatic people. Also, there's some. He said there claims that they may have tremendous supplies, even though they was saying how they inherited an empty supply, which that has been debunked numerous of times. That is not true. The Obama and Biden administration, that's how they want to refer it to as, left them a playbook with 69 pages. They did role play with them because one of the guys from the administration who works for MSNBC said they did a role play with them and what to do when there's a national pandemic. that will happen. Also, a global pandemic, excuse me. They also said that they have left them numerous things in the national stockpile. So when Jared Kushner said this is our stockpile, are you referring to yours or the country's? Because when you say ours, that's the country, not you. Because we're paying you to do your job with our tax money. Also, it said that numerous of people, the most vulnerable individuals, are most individual people in the nursing homes that died, which is not really true. There was not that many people in the nursing homes that died like that. There were most cases, and there were deaths, but there were not an astronomical amount of deaths versus African Americans and Hispanic Americans that were dying from this. The Latinx community. I'm gonna use that phrase because use Latinx instead of just Hispanic. So there were more African Americans in the Latinx community that were dying from the virus more than people from the nursing homes. Their numbers were more. So why are you lying, Donald Trump? Also, most people have, he said, died from health complications, which is true. There were people that died from the health complications, but there was also healthy people that died from COVID-19 that had got those complications through COVID-19, such as the Broadway star who had his whole entire leg amputated from the coronavirus. He said that he urges people to wear masks, social distance. People were praising him for that. I feel like you should have been said that when you first declare it as a national emergency. And when your scientists said, and your CDC included said, wear a mask, you should have been the first one to wear a mask. You have debunked it time and time again. You said last week, not in the interview, last week, saying that you don't want to have people wear their masks because you don't want their liberties taken away. Because that was according to The Hill, the article in The Hill last Friday. Also, he acknowledged he said something else, that they're pushing steroids for COVID-19, which there were studies that these steroids are not good. Like, people actually got sicker from taking these therapeutics that they keep touting, like hydroxychloroquine, and other anti-malaria drugs. And then he said he keep pushing this lie about the low fatality rate. We have the lowest fatality rate, which according to today, what I just read, we have 141,000. We almost have 142,000 deaths. We're sitting at 141,972. According to the Johns Hopkins website, they have a COVID map, which is public knowledge, which everybody can look at. Because those are the people that's doing the contract tracing too, with the Bloomberg Foundation. Just saying. Also, he keeps saying stuff that we're doing a good job. We're conducting more tests. We actually rank one of the lowest when it comes to testing. We're doing multiple tests now, but we still are not at the highest. We're the 7th or the 8th. I don't know what number. We're in the 20% rankings. I don't know. We're not in the top that we're raping testing per capita. And our testing is not as good because it takes a week to find out if you're asymptomatic, if you're negative, if you're it's bad. So when he was asked questions, and there was some questions that stuck out to me. One of them was, where's those questions? There we go. So one of them said, how many tests you take per day? Because Kayleigh McEnany, in her briefing, which I'm about to get to, said he is always tested all the time, so they don't really have to wear a mask. He said he's tested about 2 or 3 times a week, which, while you're tested so many times, you could be testing other people. Also, Jonathan Karl asked him about, because Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx was not there. So he asked, where's Dr. Birx and where's Dr. Fauci? He answered, Dr. Birx is right outside. She should have been in that press briefing with you with the data, since she is the coronavirus data response coordinator, if that's the correct title, on the task force. So he moved right along, and there was some other questions he asked. And then one of the reporters said, in November, do you want the American people to judge you by the way you handled this pandemic so far? And this is what he said. The American people will judge us for this. But he said the American people will also judge us for the economy that he created and already, and setting a record of job numbers. As you know, I know we're going to have a strong year next year. We're going to have a strong third quarter, but we're going to have a strong year, and the next year will be a record year. And then he went on to say some other bullshit. Then the reporter, another reporter asked, you said in February the virus will disappear. Now you're saying it will get worse. Will you take responsibility? Because remember what he said on March 13th, he does not take responsibility. When he was asked by Kristen Welker back in March as well, of NBC News. He said, well, the virus will disappear. The governors are working with me hand in hand. I feel like we're all responsible. And I now, as a team, good relationship. I closed all borders and he said nobody didn't do it. He said he was criticized for it and all this other bullshit. So when Kristen Welker, I stopped watching, as Kristen Welker said to him of NBC News, she was there. She said, you're sending mixed messages. We seen you in your mask at your hotel. He said, I don't know which hotel. Without his mask. I don't know which hotel. So, here goes my deconstruction, as some people say, or my breakdown of this thing. Donald Trump is full of shit. Okay? Like, this whole thing about the coronavirus, he has downplayed time and time again. He said, well, go away like the flu. It will disappear like magic. I'ma ride this sucker. He said ride this sucker shit out. And then he said he doesn't take responsibility when he was asked, do you take responsibility? And now you're switching up your tune. You're still sending mixed messages because you said you're urging people to wear a mask, but you don't really have to necessarily. As long as you social distance. Motherfucker, which one is it? I know you're incompetent. You've been incompetent doing your job, not just because you have all these other issues, because you couldn't even run your own company when you was here in New York. He has messed up his money 4 times, filed for bankruptcy 4 times, was threatened to pay back money because his ass will get killed. So which one is it? Like, I asked the 53% of the white women, majority of the white men, and even 12%, I think, of black men, or 8% of black men, what possessed you to put this man in charge of this country? Since he has been in office, he has messed up our relationships with our foreign allies. He has further divided this country. He has basically messed up a lot of trade deals. He has rolled back a lot of regulations that will help the country progress forward in terms of education, clean energy, and more on. Excuse me. And now he has shit up the economy. Because if you can't solve the global health crisis, you can't solve the economic crisis. I learned that in my macro and microeconomics class in my freshman year of college. And even sometimes in my accounting classes, she will like refer back to, and my management classes, and my history classes. When you cannot combat, and that goes for influenza back in the day, that even went for the HIV and AIDS epidemic. Stock market crash in 1987. When I was 1 year old. And the HIV AIDS pandemic was going crazy. Thank you very much, Joseph. I appreciate that. Yeah. I had on my list about the relief bill and the Republicans, but I just feel like, with them, they pushing this payroll tax thing, and I'm like, why would you need a payroll tax? But that is in the White House press briefing with Kayleigh McEnany, who basically, she said this. She started off with the whole, Portland thing. I'm not going to get into it, but she said Donald Trump will restore law. He stands with law and order, which leads to peace, and we will not allow Portland to become the new CHOP. Huh? What's that? What that means? So there was some questions that stuck out to me, like I said. One of them was by Kristen Welker from NBC News. Said this: why it took so long to see him wearing a mask, and why the mixed messaging? She asked him that. He gave her a bullshit answer. She gave him her bullshit answer. The president has been consistent on this mask recommended by the CDC, but not required. He will wear one if he's close. If he couldn't appropriately socially distance. He should wear a mask all the time. Masks should be worn in the White House. When she has the White House press briefing, her staff don't wear masks. They sit very close together unmasked. She comes in there unmasked. They all can be asymptomatic. All of them. And then Kristen Welker said, does he think it's important to lead by example? And she said he has. He's been consistent. And she said she was challenged, and she said no, it was not. Because he wore a mask in June, he wore a mask in May, but he didn't wear a mask near his hotel. And then she said, nobody is blocking federal money, all of this stuff. She was just like getting to certain things, and and then she was asked about the payroll tax thing. That's where I'm about to get to. She said, why payroll tax is so important to him, Donald Trump. That's what one of the other reporters said. McEnany said, they don't want to see people getting overpaid for an incentive. Basically saying what Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott of South Carolina, the senators of South Carolina, both GOP, have said. They don't want to see people getting the extra $600 staying home when they can go make that money and work. But it's unsafe to work in certain conditions because a lot of companies don't have the necessary. We're lacking PPE in this country because Donald Trump did not invoke the Defense Protection Act, the DPA, which make mass production of masks, of vaccines, and vaccines take about 12 to 18 months, about 1.5 to 2 years, nearly almost. And then she says a payroll tax cut goes to the hardest working Americans. Honestly, to tell you the truth, that's bullshit. And then she was also asked about Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx being there. They said she'll tune in. Obviously, they wasn't there. If you saw it, they wasn't there. So like I said, this administration, along with these elected Republican officials, both in the House and the Senate, have bowed down took it in the ass. I shouldn't say that, but that's how you see it for Trump. To appease the king, kiss the dirty, nasty little fingers. They kiss the ring of a man who have ran a campaign on bigotry, misogyny, racism, and division. This is the George Wallace and the Bull Connor just in the White House. So this is why this election is so important. Like I said, Joe Biden was not everybody's ideal candidate. However, Donald Trump has to go. And speaking of Mr. Biden, he has laid out a plan to give families, working families and working parents, people that work for the elderly and their parents, he has a plan of $775 billion to one, for assisting elderly parents with people with disabilities, for independent living, for people to come to their house and to assist them with vital services. Two, high quality child care, accessibility and affordable. 3 or 4 year olds can get affordable or receive free child care. For those that are working families, they pay only like a 7% of that amount, which is not a lot. And then you have some that are really like on the poverty line that will get total free child care, and that's nationally in the country. Here in New York, we have a free daycare, public school daycare, UPK, and I think we got UP3, I believe, here in New York. And that's one of the great things that Mayor de Blasio has done. Despite the fact that I've been pissed off with him, he has done that part. He has done a good job on. Also, number 3, to expand access to caregivers, to provide benefits for them, because a lot of people that are home health aides, they are 40% of them on SNAP or receiving Medicaid. So the child care, they will also going to have to unionize. The child care workers and healthcare workers can unionize. Then they also can get free classes to become EMTs, nurse aid, for educators. They can also get other certifications within their field. So these things are actually pretty good, and it comes from the Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden alliance. And they have Tom Steyer just recently joined. They have John Kerry. They have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, some other Bernie affiliates, some Kamala Harris folks, and that they have it's a big where you can look at it online. It's there. I think these are good because my cousin is a home health aid worker, and I don't know what health care she has because I don't ask, but I do know that most of the healthcare workers that I know, especially the home health aid workers, don't make a lot. They're lucky to even make the minimum wage thing, which is $15. And these Republicans are already bitching about that. And $15 an hour is not a lot. That's what is on a salary, $31,200 per year. If you do the multiplication, if you get your check, say you get it 26 weeks. Every 26 weeks, you get it every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks is 26 weeks, excuse me. So you do 26 times $15 an hour, that's how much you get. So that's that. But on to another thing. So I'm pretty sure you heard Republican Congressman Ted Yoho of Florida has accosted Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democratic representative from the 14th Congressional District in the Bronx. New York, which is in the Bronx, and some parts of Queens. It started off as a heated conversation where he came up to her after he went and voted, and she was about to go and vote, and he said, "You're out of your freaking mind." And then she was yelling at him. She said, "Don't be rude." And pretty much They parted ways. He was going with another senator somewhere else, which is Roger Williams, as they were going inside. I don't know where they were going, but she was going inside the public Capitol. She was going to the Capitol building, and he basically called her a fucking bitch. So she said in the tweet, I didn't have the whole tweet down, but she said, I never spoke to Representative Yahoo before. He decided to accost me on the steps of the nation's capital yesterday. And then, he says to her, she ends it, but hey, bitches get shit done. Yeah, she right. We get stuff done. Women get stuff done. Either it's in Congress, either it's not in Congress, either it's in the household, even you're a stay-at-home mom. We get stuff done. Some of us get it done at our own pace, but we get stuff done. I am so sick of this GOP trying to be misogynist, because most of them are older white males, like 55 and older. You got some a little bit in their 40s, not much, but they're stupid too. Yes, we do get shit done. I am not a mom. I am a single woman, but I get shit done. When I am determined to get something done, I get shit done. When I gotta pay my bills, I pay one of my bills today, I get shit done. All the way done. She's having bills with other people. Yes, she may be the most radical voice, but honestly, she works for her people in her congressional district, uptown in the Bronx, near the Morrisina area, and even in Queens and parts of Queens. I'm just saying. But I am tired of these Republican, especially the older white male Republicans. Of course, Liz Cheney, they had the story about Liz Cheney, but Liz Cheney's full of shit too, because she be saying some little bigoted shit too in the past and most recently. So fuck her. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm sick of them. So, and I hope they all get voted out. I pray that they get voted out, because they need to. Because they're not the reflection of America. They represent old America. New America is looking a little browner these days, a little melon these days, so, you know. But I wanted just to touch on this last part about, the Veep stakes. I told people to send in your questions. I don't know if I should do a Q&A, because I was thinking about going live on my Restream. Hopefully I can link my Instagram on here. But I think I'm going to start that soon, because I got to see the kinks of it and see how it works. But I told y'all who was my choice for VP. A lot of people got other choices. I heard some Susan Rice's. I heard some Stacey Abrams, even though Stacey Abrams is not being considered. I heard some Keisha Lance Bottoms. But to me, my choice is KDH all day, which is Kamala Devi Harris, all day, every day. I supported her during the presidential campaigns and primaries, even though she didn't even make it to the first election, because she bowed out because of money, which I think that's a smart thing. If you don't have enough money, you can't run your campaign. Now, there's some people that was still in there broke and didn't win nothing, but I supported her. But I feel like, honestly, not just because of color, I feel like Kamala Harris is a black woman that can represent people like me. I don't know. But like I said, we all not a monolith, so I get it. But I encourage people to vote for the senator to advocate for the senator, because she's qualified. Lately she's been putting out coronavirus relief bills like crazy that could get passed through the Senate. The bill for $2,000 to each individual, an additional $2,000 for folks that have families that make under $125,000. That is big in itself. She also came out with something where people that I think it's a health disparities, people with health disparities in the in Black and Latinx communities that's not being seen, being rejected by doctors. She released a bill where doctors can't discriminate against you. Also, the Vote Safe Act, where you can vote by mail instead of risking your health going to the polls. You can send your absentee ballot, your voting ballot through the mail, which I done that. You can also there's also the Save Our Streets, which is like the local corner store, the local cleaners, the local restaurant, black owned, Hispanic owned, so that did not get money from the PPE, which is true. They didn't get money from the PPE, but that's who my choice is. And plus, I liked her work. I didn't know she did intervention and prevention work when she was the AG with at-risk, not just only at-risk youth, but people that were in the system, the criminal justice system, who were, in the system. She did a lot of intervention and prevention work. So, and I worked for an intervention and prevention organization for like about a year or so. I interned and I worked there. So, and I dealt with at-risk youth or people that were going to prison or had been to prison. So, or that were teen moms or teen dads. So, I'm like, this resonates with me, man. But that's just who I pick, and I think that will be perfect for the position, and who commands the room, and who knows foreign policy. You got to know at least a little bit of foreign policy. Susan Rice is good, but Susan Rice is a career diplomat. She was never a politician. So that is my advocacy for Kamala Harris. You can tell me what your advocacy is for your person. You can tell me why. You can put it in the comments. You can do I'll do a Q&A hopefully soon. Probably Friday or Saturday will be a good Q&A. So you can tell me why you want this person. And I could tell you like, oh, that person could be great. But that's just my thing. But I'm going to end this and say good night. Keep safe. Wear your mask. Wear your gloves. Wash your hands. Social distance. Be safe out in these streets. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully my camera works tomorrow because I had camera issues. So have a good night.